Have you ever wondered why some people seem to radiate health and vitality while others struggle with constant illness? What if the secret to a disease? Free life isn't found in expensive supplements or complicated diets, but in simple foods that have been cherished for thousands of years. Could ancient Buddhist wisdom hold the key to unlocking your body's natural healing power? Today, we're going to explore something truly extraordinary. 7 everyday foods that can transform your health from the inside out. For centuries, Buddhist monks and practitioners have understood something that modern science is only now beginning to confirm. The food we eat isn't just fuel for our bodies. It is medicine. These aren't exotic superfoods that cost a fortune or require special preparation. These are simple, accessible foods that work in harmony with your body's natural healing mechanisms. When consumed daily, they create a powerful foundation for health that can help you prevent disease, boost your immunity, and experience vitality like never before. This journey we're about to embark on together is more than just a list of foods. It is about understanding the profound connection between what we put into our bodies and how we feel, think, and live. Buddhist teachings have always emphasized mindful eating and the importance of nourishing ourselves with wisdom and intention. These 7 foods embody that philosophy perfectly. They're nature's gift to us, designed to help our bodies heal themselves and maintain balance. As we explore each of these 7 foods, keep an open mind and heart. The wisdom we'll share today has been tested not just for decades, but for millennia. These principles have helped countless individuals achieve remarkable health and longevity. They offer us practical strategies to strengthen our immune systems, reduce inflammation, enhance our mental clarity, and create an internal environment where disease simply cannot thrive. What makes this approach so powerful is its simplicity. You don't need to overhaul your entire life or spend hours in the kitchen. These 7 foods can easily be incorporated into your daily routine, and the benefits begin accumulating from day one. Each food we'll discuss serves a specific purpose in supporting your body's natural healing processes, and together they create a synergistic effect that is truly remarkable. We strongly encourage you to watch this entire video because each food we reveal builds upon the last. Missing even one could mean missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. This isn't just information, it is a roadmap to transforming your health naturally, using wisdom that has stood the test of time combined with modern nutritional science that validates these ancient practices. If you find value in what we're sharing today, please take a moment to click the like button and subscribe to our Wisdom in Real Life channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that can genuinely change lives. By subscribing, you are not just getting more videos, you are joining a community of like-minded individuals who are committed to living healthier, more conscious lives. You'll stay updated on practical wisdom that you can apply immediately to enhance your well-being and discover new ways to nurture your body, mind, and spirit. Every piece of information we share in this video has been carefully selected for its practical application and proven benefits. We're not talking about theory here. We're talking about real foods that real people have used for generations to maintain extraordinary health well into old age. These are the foods that Buddhist practitioners have relied upon to keep their bodies strong, their minds clear, and their spirits vibrant, ready to discover these 7 powerful foods. We promise you this journey will open your eyes to the incredible healing potential that is already available to you. Each food we discuss is a key that unlocks a different aspect of your body's healing capabilities. Together, they form a complete system for disease prevention and optimal health that anyone can follow, regardless of age or current health status. Let's begin this transformative journey together and discover how these 7 simple foods can help your body heal itself and stay disease-free for years to come. The forgotten secret your body's natural power to heal. We live in a time when hospitals are filled to capacity. There is a pharmacy at every street corner, and we have grown so accustomed to chronic illnesses that they are becoming the norm. And yet, the truth not embraced in today's world is that your body already knows how to heal itself. Deep inside you lies an incredible intelligence, a natural healing power that has been at work since the moment you were born. Every cut that heals, every infection overcome, every bruise that fades. This was not an accident. These are proof that your body innately knows how to rejuvenate itself to perfect health. This is not wishful thinking or spiritual fantasy. Your body is designed with remarkable self-repair mechanisms. Your cells constantly regenerate. Your immune system fights invisible battles every day, and your organs work in perfect harmony to maintain balance. Scientists call it homeostasis, the body's natural tendency to seek equilibrium and health. But what most of us don't realize is that this is one healing power that does not operate in isolation. It needs the right fuel, the right conditions, and the right support to function optimally. Stop and think about that for a moment. When you cut your finger, you don't consciously tell your body to send white blood cells to fight infection, or to tell your skin cells to multiply and close the wound. It just happens. Automatically, brilliantly, perfectly. That same intelligence is in every cell of your body, working around the clock to keep you healthy. But in our modern world, we've created an environment that fights against this natural healing. We eat foods that confuse our bodies, live with chronic stress, depleting our resources, and have lost touch with the ancient wisdom guiding humanity towards natural health and longevity. This secret was discovered thousands of years ago by Buddhist monks through careful observation, meditation, and deep understanding of the body. Mind connection, they learned to work with the natural healing power of the body, not against it. Without access to modern medicine, many lived into extraordinary ages with remarkable vitality and clarity of mind. And their secret was not complicated. It was beautifully simple. They recognized that the body heals itself when given the right conditions. And those conditions start with what you eat. Your body is constantly sending you messages. That afternoon fatigue, those frequent headaches, the brain fog, the joint pain, the digestive issues, these are not independent problems, each requiring a different medication. They are your body's way of telling you that something is out of balance. When you ignore these messages and merely mask the symptoms, you are working against your body's natural healing intelligence. But when you listen and respond with the right foods and practices, magic happens. Your body begins to heal itself, often in ways that seem miraculous, but are, in truth, completely natural. The tragedy of modern healthcare is that we've been taught to fear our bodies, to distrust their signals, and to rely wholly on external interventions. We've forgotten that our ancestors thrived for millennia without pharmaceutical companies, based on nothing but nature's pharmacy combined with the wisdom passed down through generations. This doesn't mean modern medicine has no place. It most certainly does in emergencies and acute conditions. But for the chronic diseases that plague our society today, the solution isn't more medications. It is reconnecting with our body's natural healing power and giving it what it needs to do, what it was designed to do. Keep us healthy, vibrant, and disease-free. Now that we have discussed this forgotten power in each of us, let's begin to discover specifically how the ancient Buddhist wisdom approached food as the primary tool for awakening and supporting this natural healing capability. Ancient Buddhist view on food as medicine. Long before modern nutritional science existed, Buddhist practitioners had already discovered a deep truth. Food is not just to keep the body alive. It is medicine for body, mind, and spirit. Throughout Asia, in Buddhist monasteries, mealtimes were not about satiating one's stomach, but a sacred practice, a time for healing and transformation. The monks knew full well what our fast food culture has utterly forgotten. Every mouthful you take either feeds disease or fights it. When it comes to food, neutral ground does not exist. Food is discussed with the same respect as meditation and ethical conduct in ancient Buddhist texts, especially in those teachings on mindful living and the middle way. The Buddha himself spoke about food as something that will maintain the body temple, not something to give a person pleasure or fulfillment. He taught monks to reflect on their food as medicine taken to avoid hunger, and to keep the body going for spiritual practice. This was not to restrict or punish oneself, but to understand the true function of food and its power. The Buddhist approach to food as medicine is based on several core principles that are amazingly aligned with what modern science is now finding out. First, they recognize that the quality of food directly impacts the quality of consciousness. Heavy, processed, or impure foods create a heavy, sluggish mind. Fresh, simple plant-based foods create clarity and lightness. Second, they knew that digestion is a method of transformation. It is where the external world becomes part of your internal world. When this process is honored and supported appropriately with the right foods, healing happens by itself. The traditional Buddhist approach to diet centered on the themes of simplicity, purity, and balance. Monks ate only plant-based foods in general, avoiding any diet that harmed living beings or dulled the mind and overstimulated the senses. This was not only ethical, it was practical wisdom. They noticed the results. Health was better, minds clearer, lives longer, and meditation deeper. In those parts of the world where Buddhist practices took root, such as Tibet, Japan, and Southeast Asia, these kinds of traditional diets based upon Buddhist dietary principles facilitated a population with very low rates of the chronic diseases we are familiar with today. One of the most beautiful aspects of the Buddhist view is this: food karma. They felt that the energy and intention behind how food is grown, prepared, and consumed all matter. Food produced with violence or greed or carelessness carries that energy into your body. Food grown with care, prepared with love, and eaten with gratitude becomes true medicine. This may sound mystical, but think about it. We now know that stress hormones in animals affect meat quality, that processed foods lack the vital nutrients of whole foods, and that our emotional state at the time of eating affects digestion. The ancient wisdom was right. The Buddhist monks were also extremely sophisticated in their practice of food combining and timing. They knew that certain foods should not be taken together, that eating late upsets sleep and healing, and that sometimes not eating at all is the most potent medicine of all. They honored natural cycles and adjusted their intake accordingly. Dense foods in winter, light in summer, more when physically active, less when deeply contemplative or resting. This intuitive knowledge about how food interacted with the energy dynamics of the body is lost on us, in a culture accustomed to eating whatever we desire at any time we wish. Most importantly, perhaps, Buddhist dietary wisdom recognized that food affects not only physical health, but also mental and spiritual well-being. They saw clearly the connection between a clean diet and a peaceful mind, between proper nutrition and the ability to maintain focus in meditation, between eating with awareness and developing wisdom. In their view, you couldn't separate the body from the mind, and both were nourished or poisoned by what you eat. Keep this Buddhist perspective in mind as we move forward in understanding these 7 healing foods. Not just nutrition in the modern sense, but food as a whole medicine that heals every aspect of your being. And to deeply comprehend just how this works, we need to delve into something even deeper: how the energy of what you eat shapes your mind and spirit. The energy of what you eat shapes your mind and spirit here is something that will change how you view every meal. Food isn't just physical matter that gets broken down for calories and nutrients. Every food carries with it an energetic signature, a vibrational quality that affects not just your body, but your thoughts, emotions, and even your spiritual state. This ancient Buddhist understanding is now being validated by modern science in fascinating ways, but the monks knew it intuitively thousands of years ago through careful observation and direct experience. In Buddhist philosophy, especially those Ayurvedic traditions that influenced the dietary practices of Buddhism, foods are classified according to their energetic qualities. Some foods are sattvic, pure, light, and harmonizing. These include fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and herbs. They create clarity, peace, and balance in the mind. Other foods are rajasic, stimulating and activating. These include spicy foods, coffee and garlic. While not harmful in moderation, they can create restlessness and agitation. Finally, some foods are tamasic, heavy, dull, and deteriorating. These include meat, alcohol, processed foods, and anything stale or rotten. These foods create heaviness, confusion, and spiritual darkness. Now, you might be skeptical about this energetic classification, but consider your own experience. Have you ever noticed how you feel after eating a fresh, colorful salad versus how you feel after eating fast food? It is not just about digestion. There is a quality to your thoughts, a tone to your emotions, a level of energy in your being that is completely different. After light, pure foods, you feel clear, energized, and calm. After heavy, processed foods, you feel sluggish, foggy, and often irritable or depressed. This isn't coincidence. It is the energetic quality of food directly affecting your mental and emotional state. Modern science is finally catching up with the mechanisms behind this ancient wisdom. We now know about the gut-brain axis, which is the direct communication highway between your digestive system and your brain. The bacteria in your gut, dependent entirely upon what you eat, produce neurotransmitters affecting mood, thought patterns, and behaviors. About 90% of the serotonin, the happiness chemical your body produces, is in your gut, not your brain. When you fill yourself with processed, sugary, or inflammatory foods, you are literally creating a chemical environment in your body that fosters depression, anxiety, and a foggy brain. Biochemistry is just the beginning. It is even deeper than that. At a quantum level, everything is energy and vibrates at particular frequencies. Living foods, fresh vegetables, fruits, herbs, carry high vibrational energy because they are full of life force. They were recently alive, growing in the sun, absorbing nutrients from the earth. When you eat them, that vitality becomes part of you. Dead foods, anything processed, preserved, or on a shelf for months, have lost that life force. They might still hold calories, but they lack the energetic vitality that really feeds your being. The Buddhist monks were very sensitive to these subtle energies. They could feel how different foods would affect their meditation practice, their clarity of mind, their emotional stability, and their spiritual experiences. They noticed that after eating certain foods, the mind became calm and focused, and was just right for deep meditation, while after other foods, they became restless or drowsy. Through this direct experiential knowledge, they refined their diets to include only those foods that supported their highest purpose, the awakening and enlightenment of all beings. This is why in Buddhist monasteries, meals were prepared with such care and consciousness. The cooks were considered to be performing a sacred duty, not just making food. They knew that the energy they brought to food preparation would be absorbed by those eating it. Cooking with love, gratitude, and mindfulness imparts to food a healing energy. Cooking with anger, resentment, or carelessness diminishes food's vital force. You can taste the difference, and more importantly, you can feel it in how the food affects you hours after eating. There is also a spiritual dimension to this that goes beyond energy and vibration. Buddhist teachings indicate that what you eat affects your karma, the quality of your consciousness, and the trajectory of your spiritual journey. When you eat food that required violence or suffering to produce, on a very subtle level, you are entangling with that suffering. When you eat food that was grown with care and kindness, you are aligning yourself with those positive qualities. This isn't about guilt or rigid rules. It is about knowing that everything is connected, and your choices with food have ripples you might not immediately see, but definitely feel. The practical implication of all this is profound. If you want to change your mental state, emotional patterns, or spiritual consciousness, start by changing what you eat. It is not the only factor, but it is a very potent one that most people completely overlook. You cannot expect to have a clear, peaceful, enlightened mind while feeding your body foods that create chaos and confusion at a cellular and energetic level. With an understanding of how food energy shapes our entire being, we're ready to explore the specific foods that Buddhist wisdom has identified as most powerful for healing. These aren't random choices. They are foods precisely selected for their high vibrational energy and their ability to awaken what the monks called your inner doctor. 7 foods that wake up the body's inner doctor within you right now exists what Buddhist monks call the inner doctor. An innate intelligence that knows exactly what your body needs to heal, how to fight disease, and how to maintain perfect balance. This isn't metaphorical. It is the collective wisdom of your immune system, your cellular repair mechanisms, your hormonal balance, and all the self-regulating systems that work day and night to keep you alive and healthy. The challenge is that in our modern world, we have suppressed this inner doctor through poor food choices, environmental toxins, chronic stress, and disconnection from natural rhythms. The 7 foods we are about to explore below are specifically chosen because they not only provide nutrition, but actually awaken and amplify your body's natural healing intelligence. You can think of them as keys to unlock different aspects of your inner doctor's capabilities. Each of them addresses specific systems within your body, and yet works synergistically with the others to provide a comprehensive healing environment. It is not about using these foods as if they were pills or supplements. It is about integrating them into daily life so that with each passing day, you support your body's innate wisdom. What makes these 7 foods so special is that they've been used in Buddhist monasteries for centuries with consistent, observable results. Monks who consumed these foods daily lived longer, suffered fewer illnesses, maintained mental clarity into old age, and demonstrated remarkable resilience even in harsh conditions. These aren't trendy superfoods that will be forgotten next year. They're time-tested staples that have nourished generations of people seeking optimal health and spiritual clarity. Modern research has now caught up with this ancient wisdom, and the science is astounding. These foods reduce inflammation, support the health of your gut, enhance the functioning of your immune system, protect against cancer, improve your brain health, balance your hormones, and turn on your body's natural detox systems. But here is what makes the Buddhist approach different from modern nutritional advice. It is not just about the chemical compounds or nutrient profile. It is whole food prepared properly, eaten mindfully, and integrated into a lifestyle that supports healing at every level. Each of these 7 foods works with a different aspect of your inner doctor. Some strengthen your body's defensive systems, enabling your body to fight off infections and diseases before they take hold. Others repair damage at the cellular level, literally helping your body rebuild itself stronger and healthier. Some balance your energy and hormones, creating the internal harmony that all healing processes require. Others cleanse and purify, removing the toxins and waste that interfere with your body's natural functions. And some nourish your nervous system and mind, ensuring that the command center coordinating all this healing is functioning optimally. What is beautiful about these foods is their accessibility. You don't have to go to exotic lands and spend a fortune in specialty health stores. These are simple, whole foods that have been sustaining human health for millennia. They're affordable, widely available, and easy to incorporate into any kind of cuisine or cultural food tradition. The Buddhist monks who perfected this dietary wisdom weren't wealthy or privileged. They often lived modestly, at times in mountain monasteries far away from civilization, and yet they learned that true healing power can come from such humble foods, if one knows how to choose and consume them properly. As we go through each of these 7 foods, pay attention not just to what they are, but to how they work together. Buddhist dietary wisdom is holistic. It sees the body as an interconnected system in which everything affects everything else. You can't just add one of these foods while continuing to eat processed junk and expect miraculous results, but when you gradually incorporate all 7 into your regular diet, replacing the foods that have been suppressing your inner doctor, something remarkable happens. Your body begins to remember its natural state of health. Symptoms that you thought were permanent begin to fade, energy that you haven't felt in years returns, mental clarity sharpens, emotional balance stabilizes. Think of your inner doctor as a wise physician who has been drugged and then bound, unable to do its job because of everything working against it. These 7 foods are the medicine that wakes up that doctor, cuts the bindings, and gives it the tools it needs to heal you from the inside out. This is preventive medicine in its truest form. Not preventing disease by attacking it with drugs, but preventing disease by creating an internal environment where illness simply cannot thrive. Are you ready to meet these 7 healing foods? Each of them is a gift from nature, refined by thousands of years of Buddhist wisdom and practice. Let's begin with the foundation of the Buddhist diet, the foods that restore balance and provide strength for all the other healing to take place. The Healing Grains Food 1, healing grains that restore balance and strength. The first food that awakens your inner doctor is a food that has sustained humankind across nearly every culture and civilization. Whole grains. We're not talking about the refined white flour and processed grain products that dominate modern diets, but rather ancient whole grains in their complete, unprocessed form: brown rice, millet, bark wheat, quinoa, and oats. These formed the foundation of the Buddhist monastic diet and provided stable energy, essential nutrients, and a grounding quality necessary to support both physical strength and mental clarity. In Buddhist monasteries, the day would typically start with a simple meal centered around grains. Monks knew that grains provided something they referred to as central energy, a stable, sustaining force that anchors the body and mind. Unlike the ups and downs in blood sugar from refined carbohydrates and sugars, whole grains slowly and steadily release their energy. A foundation of strength and endurance is created, which enables the body to continue its healing work during the day without constant interruption due to hunger or energy highs and lows. Of particular importance, brown rice occupied a sacred place within Buddhist dietary habits. Mainly inside Zen monasteries, it was considered the perfect food, nutritionally complete, easy to digest when properly prepared, and harmonizing to the energy systems of the body. Brown rice contains the bran and germ that get stripped away to make white rice, and these parts contain fiber, B vitamins, minerals such as magnesium and selenium, and powerful antioxidants. When eaten regularly, brown rice will help regulate blood sugar, foster cardiovascular health, nurture proper digestion, and give your body the building blocks it needs for cellular repair. Millet is also a grain favored in Buddhist communities, especially in Tibet and parts of China. And it is alkalizing to the body, helping to offset the acidity created by stress, processed foods, and modern living. It is within this acidic internal environment where disease thrives. Cancer cells, inflammation, and pathogens all do better in an acidic environment. When one consumes alkalizing grains such as millet on a regular basis, they are creating an internal pH balance that naturally resists disease. Millet is also gluten-free, exceedingly easy to digest, and rich in minerals that many are deficient in, particularly magnesium, which plays a crucial role in over 300 enzymatic processes in your body. Barley, which is used widely in Buddhist cuisine as well as in traditional Tibetan medicine, has tremendous healing properties for the digestion system. Barley is rich in beta-glucan, a special kind of soluble fiber that helps feed good bacteria in the gut, lower cholesterol levels, and control blood sugar. Do you remember that talk about the gut-brain axis? Well, barley is among those gut-friendly foods which nurture your inner environment and just create conditions for a healthy microbiome that would later on support your immune system and the health of your mind and overall vitality. How grains are prepared is the key to making them healing rather than harmful. Buddhist monks never ate grains that hadn't been duly soaked, sprouted, or fermented. These traditional preparation methods neutralize anti-nutrients like phytic acid that can interfere with mineral absorption and cause digestive distress. When you soak grains overnight before cooking them, you are basically pre-digesting them, making all their nutrients more bioavailable and easier on your digestive system. This is ancient wisdom that modern nutritional science has confirmed. Properly prepared grains are incredibly nourishing, while improperly prepared grains can be a problem. Buckwheat is not a type of wheat at all, but a seed that acts much like a grain and was a staple, particularly among Buddhist mountain communities. One of the best plant sources of complete protein, it contains all essential amino acids and is rich in rutin, a flavonoid that strengthens blood vessels and improves circulation. For monks living in high altitudes with harsh winters, buckwheat provided the warmth and strength necessary to maintain health in challenging conditions. This is especially crucial in the modern world where so many people are feeling scattered, anxious, and uncentered. According to Buddhist thought, grains link one to the earth element, which provides stability and presence. If sugars, caffeine, and processed foods dominate your diet, you become ungrounded. Your energy is erratic, your emotions unstable, and your mind races. Adding whole grains back into your diet, especially as the foundation of your meals, creates a settling effect that ripples through your entire being. Whole grains should comprise about 30 to 40% of your daily intake, according to the best healing benefits found in Buddhist dietary wisdom. What this means is not just consuming meals of grains, but rather having appropriately prepared whole grains form the base of each day, around which you build other foods. When you eat this way regularly, you will find that your energy is improved, your digestion is smoother, your moods are steady, and a kind of strength and resilience comes from being nourished properly at the foundational level. Having established the grounding foundation with healing grains, let's delve into the foods that will bring the breath of life into your cells and infuse your body with vitality and cleaning power. The leafy greens. The leafy greens, food too. Leafy greens. The breath of life for your cells, leafy greens, are the breath of life that purifies and enlivens every cell in our body, while grains are a foundational food for grounding. In virtually all Buddhist monasteries throughout Asia, fresh greens were eaten daily, at most every meal, and were an essential food for maintaining clarity of mind and purity of body. The monks observed something quite profound. Those who ate abundant greens had clearer thinking, better digestion, stronger immunity, and a vitality that seemed to radiate from within. Modern science now explains what they knew intuitively. Leafy greens are among the most nutrient-dense, healing foods on the planet. When we refer to leafy greens within the Buddhist dietary tradition, we're talking about a very broad category bok choy, mustard greens, water spinach, various wild greens, along with those greens that are more common in our modern understanding, such as spinach, kale, collards, and Swiss chard. The particular varieties matter less than the principle itself, to consume fresh, dark, leafy greens every single day. In their essence, these plants are concentrated sunlight, transformed through photosynthesis into chlorophyll, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that your body recognizes as pure medicine. Chlorophyll, the pigment that makes plants green, is strikingly similar in molecular structure to human hemoglobin, the compound in your blood that carries oxygen to your cells. When you are consuming chlorophyll-rich greens, you are essentially building better blood. This is why leafy greens have long been used to treat anemia, improve circulation, and increase energy. Yet, the amazing thing that chlorophyll does is that it becomes an extremely powerful detoxifier. It binds to toxins, heavy metals, and carcinogens within your digestive tract and assists in eliminating them from your body. With our modern world, where we're exposed to literally thousands of environmental toxins daily, this cleansing property is absolutely essential. Buddhist monks viewed greens as cooling foods that counteract heat and inflammation in the body. Inflammation has become known as the root cause of virtually every chronic disease: heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and autoimmune conditions all have to do with chronic inflammation. Leafy greens are densely packed with anti-inflammatory compounds, mostly flavonoids and carotenoids, which actually reduce inflammation on the cellular level. By eating greens each day, you are literally taking anti-inflammatory medicine, but without any of the many negative side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. It is almost impossible to wrap your head around the nutrient density of leafy greens. One serving has mega doses of vitamins A, C, K, and many B vitamins, not to mention minerals like calcium, iron, magnesium, and potassium. But more importantly, those come packaged with literally thousands of phytonutrients, plant compounds that have extraordinary healing properties. For example, the sulforaphane in dark greens turns on your body's detoxification enzymes and has been proven to have powerful anti-cancer properties. The lutein and zeaxanthin protect your eyes and brain. The folate supports DNA synthesis and repair. What makes greens particularly important in the awakening of your inner doctor is their effect on your gut microbiome. The fiber in leafy greens isn't digestible by you, but it is the perfect food for beneficial bacteria in your gut. When these bacteria feast on the fiber from greens, they produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation, strengthen your intestinal barrier, regulate your immune system, and even affect your mood and cognition through the gut-brain axis. This is why people who eat abundant greens tend to have better digestion, stronger immunity, and more stable mental health. More often than not, greens were lightly steamed or eaten in soups, making them easier to digest and allowing for larger quantities. While raw greens are good, cooking them breaks down cell walls, which actually makes many nutrients more bioavailable. It also makes them gentler on the digestive system, something of great importance if your digestion has been compromised by years of poor eating. And the monks also knew intuitively that many of the vitamins found in greens are fat soluble, requiring fat to properly absorb the vitamins. Often cooking greens with small amounts of sesame oil or other healthy fats. One of the most practical aspects of incorporating greens into one's diet is their versatility. They can be added to soups, stir fries, smoothies, and salads, or simply steamed as a side dish. The key is in the quantity and regularity of consumption. At least 2 to 3 cups of cooked greens, or 4 to 6 cups of raw greens a day. For those who aren't used to it, this amount may seem highly excessive. But once the energy and clarity that accompany daily greens kick in, it will no longer be a chore, but rather a need. There is also an energetic quality to greens that aligns with Buddhist spiritual practice. Green is the color of the heart chakra, associated with love, compassion, and healing. When you consume abundant greens, you are nourishing not just your physical heart, but your emotional and spiritual heart center. Many people report feeling more open, compassionate, and emotionally balanced when they increase their green vegetable intake. This isn't mysticism. It is the direct result of better nutrition supporting optimal brain chemistry and hormonal balance. As we move from the purifying breath of leafy greens to our next healing food, we shift from expansive energy to concentrated power stored in small packages. Now, let's explore the tiny treasures that have sustained Buddhist monks through harsh winters and long meditation retreats: nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds, nature's concentrated sources of longevity. Food 3, nuts and seeds, tiny treasures of longevity. If whole grains provide foundation and greens provide cleansing vitality, nuts and seeds provide something equally important: concentrated nutrition to build strength, nourish the brain, and provide raw materials to promote longevity. In Buddhist monasteries, especially in areas where winter was severe and fresh foods were unavailable for many months, nuts and seeds were considered complete foods worthy of being stored as life, sustaining provisions during times when other foods were in short supply. The monks referred to them as life essence in small packages. And modern nutritional science has confirmed just how apt that description was. Nuts and seeds are essentially the embryos of plants, containing everything necessary to grow an entire organism. When you eat them, you are consuming extremely concentrated nutrition, healthy fats, complete proteins, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients, all packaged together in perfect ratios. But more than just nutrition, nuts and seeds contain compounds that specifically support longevity. They reduce inflammation, protect against cardiovascular disease, support brain health, balance hormones, and even activate genes associated with longer lifespan. Walnuts held a special place in Buddhist dietary wisdom, particularly because of their resemblance to the human brain. And indeed, they are one of the best foods for brain health. Walnuts are the only nut that contains significant amounts of omega-3 fatty acids in the form of alpha-linolenic acid. These fats are essential to brain structure and function, reducing neuroinflammation and protecting against cognitive decline. Buddhist scholars and monks who spent long hours in study and meditation relied on walnuts to maintain mental clarity and focus. Modern research shows they were right. Regular walnut consumption is associated with better memory, faster processing speed, and reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease. Almonds are also an important staple in most Buddhist communities, where they are primarily used to strengthen the body and calm the mind. They are rich in vitamin E, which is a powerful antioxidant that protects your cells from oxidative damage, basically slowing down the aging of your cells. Almonds contain magnesium and B vitamins that support your nervous system to help you stay calm and resilient in the face of everyday stress. Traditionally, it was believed that almonds soaked overnight and taken in the morning improved their vitality and spiritual energy throughout the day. Sesame seeds used whole and as oil or tahini in many dishes throughout Buddhist cuisine hold amazing medicinal properties that were well understood by the ancient practitioners. In fact, black sesame seeds were known to be one of the longevity foods in Buddhist medicine, treating bone and kidney problems and supposedly keeping people from graying too quickly. Modern analysis finds they are incredibly rich in calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, and a special lignin, which has antioxidant and hormone balancing effects. Sea salmon in sesame seeds has been shown to protect the liver, reduce inflammation, and support healthy cholesterol levels. Flax seeds and chia seeds, considered ancient foods and recently popularized in Western health circles, were used for centuries by Buddhist communities in the Himalayas. These small seeds are among the richest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids and contain fiber that nurtures digestive health and balanced blood sugar. When soaked in water, they form a gel that soothes the digestive tract and helps elimination of toxins. Buddhist monks often added ground flax or chia to their morning grain porridges. In this way, a food was created that provided sustained energy and supported elimination, both critical to maintaining health during long periods of seated meditation. Pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and hemp seeds round out the Buddhist seed repertoire, each with unique benefits. Pumpkin seeds are rich in zinc, important for immune function and hormonal health. Sunflower seeds provide selenium and vitamin E, along with substances that protect against cardiovascular disease. Hemp seeds offer a perfect balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, plus complete protein. The variety itself is important. Different nuts and seeds provide different nutrients and compounds, so rotating among several types ensures you are getting a complete spectrum of healing benefits. But what really makes nuts and seeds such powerful tools for unleashing your inner doctor is their impact on inflammation and oxidative stress, the two key processes that drive the development of nearly every chronic disease and accelerate aging. The blend of healthy fats, antioxidants, minerals, and phytonutrients in nuts and seeds supplies your cells with precisely what they need to repair damage, protect healthy membranes, generate energy efficiently, and fight off disease. And as you might expect, population studies consistently reveal that regular nut and seed eaters live longer and have lower rates of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and cognitive decline. From a Buddhist perspective, nuts and seeds also contain potent life force energy because they are literally the plant's investment in its future. They contain all the energy and information needed to create new life. When consumed with awareness and gratitude, this life force becomes part of you, supporting not just physical health, but vitality at every level of your being. The monks would often eat nuts and seeds slowly, chewing them thoroughly, recognizing that proper chewing releases oils and makes nutrients more available while also supporting digestion. The bottom line in practical terms is a simple yet important recommendation for incorporating nuts and seeds into your daily diet. Consume a small handful, a serving size of about 1 to 2 ounces, of raw or lightly roasted nuts and seeds each day. Vary the types to ensure a variety of nutrients. Avoid heavily salted, sugared, or roasted nuts and seeds in inflammatory oils. These processing methods destroy much of the healing benefit. Soaking nuts overnight before consuming them, as many Buddhist communities traditionally did, makes them easier to digest and more nutritious by neutralizing enzyme inhibitors. As powerful as nuts and seeds are, they work best in combination with our next category of healing foods, the roots and herbs that form Earth's natural pharmacy, providing medicine for specific conditions while supporting general balance and harmony. Food for roots and herbs. Earth's natural pharmacy deep underground. Out of sight, roots and herbs absorb minerals and healing agents from the earth, concentrating them into medicines so potent that they have formed the cornerstone of healing systems for thousands of years. In Buddhist monasteries, the herb garden and root cellar were as essential as the meditation hall. Monks realized true health requires both spiritual practice and physical medicine. What is remarkable is how these humble roots and herbs address the exact health concerns we struggle with today: inflammation, impaired immunity, poor circulation, digestive issues, and chronic stress. Ginger root is revered in Buddhist dietary medicine. Used fresh, dried, or as a tea, ginger has been used for millennia in treating digestive disorders, reducing inflammation, improving circulation, and warming the body. Traveling Buddhist monks would carry dried ginger on long walking journeys to avoid nausea, aid digestion of new foods, and sustain energy. Modern science verifies the anti-inflammatory activity of ginger. It contains compounds such as gingerols and shogols, which block inflammatory pathways similarly to several medications, but with fewer side effects. Consuming ginger daily has been associated with reduced muscle pain, improved arthritis conditions, blood sugar regulation, and chronic disease prevention. Turmeric is the golden root used prolifically throughout Buddhist Asia, and it contains curcumin, arguably the most researched natural anti-inflammatory compound in the world. The monks noticed that populations that consumed turmeric daily had incredibly low rates of inflammatory diseases, clear minds well into old age, and resistance to infections. We now know why. Curcumin downregulates every major inflammatory pathway in the body, crosses the blood-brain barrier to protect neurons, supports liver detoxification, and has potent anti-cancer properties. The challenge with turmeric is absorption. Curcumin, as an isolate, is poorly absorbed, which is why Buddhist cooking always paired turmeric with black pepper and fat, dramatically increasing its bioavailability. Garlic, although not used by strict Buddhist monks who were practicing complete renunciation of the senses, was consumed widely in most Buddhist communities for its strong medicinal powers. Garlic is one of nature's most potent antimicrobial foods. It fights bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. It also supports cardiovascular health by lowering blood pressure and cholesterol, enhances immune function, and has sulfur compounds which support detoxification. The allicin in garlic, which is released when it is crushed or chopped, has also shown anti-cancer properties and protects against cognitive decline. Ginseng, particularly revered in East Asian Buddhist traditions, was considered to be a supreme tonic for longevity and vitality. It was consumed by Buddhist monks alike in both Korea and China to enhance mental clarity for long meditation sessions and to sustain physical stamina despite minimal food intake. Ginseng is an adaptogen. It helps the body adapt to stress, whether physical, mental, or environmental. It balances cortisol levels, supports immune function, enhances cognitive performance, and helps regulate blood sugar. There are different types of ginseng for different applications. Korean red ginseng for warming and energizing, American ginseng for cooling and calming, but all with the ability to strengthen what Buddhist medicine called vital essence. Burdock root is a common ingredient in both macrobiotic and Buddhist diets, and it is considered one of the most potent blood purifying agents within herbal medicine. It aids your liver and kidneys in filtering out toxins and waste products from your body. Burdock contains inulin, a prebiotic fiber that feeds the good gut bacteria, and other compounds that help skin health from the inside out. Many skin problems, such as acne, eczema, and psoriasis, reflect inner toxicity and inflammation. Burdock targets the root cause by aiding your body's natural detoxification pathways. Holy basil, referred to as tulsi in Buddhist parts of India and Nepal, is considered sacred, and for good reason. This aromatic herb is an incredibly powerful adaptogen and nervine, calming the nervous system and reducing anxiety and stress. Tulsi supports respiratory health and has antimicrobial properties. In Buddhism, Tulsi tea would be drunk daily to keep the mind sharp and the emotions even-tempered. Modern research now supports its effects. Holy basil reduces cortisol, protects against damage caused by stress, sustains healthy blood sugar levels, and has anti-cancer properties. The beauty of roots and herbs in Buddhist dietary wisdom is that they're used preventively, not just as remedies for illness. Instead of waiting until disease strikes and then looking for medicine, these roots and herbs are prepared through daily meals and teas to constantly nurture the healing intelligence in the body. A simple practice from Buddhist monasteries was the preparation of a daily healing tea with various combinations like ginger and turmeric, holy basil and other herbs, which would be sipped throughout the day. This provided continuous medicinal support and also encouraged hydration and mindful pauses. What is important to understand is that roots and herbs work differently than pharmaceutical drugs. They don't suppress symptoms or override your body's natural processes. Rather, they provide concentrated nutrients and healing compounds that support and enhance what your body is already trying to do. This is why they can be used long-term safely and without side effects. You are working with your body, not against it. This fits perfectly into the Buddhist idea of working with natural law, rather than trying to dominate or control nature. Energetically speaking, roots are very grounding. They literally originate deep within the earth and carry that stabilizing energy within them. According to Buddhist understanding, many modern health problems originate from being too up in the head, that is, a preponderance of thinking, worrying, and other mental activity without sufficient grounding in the body and earth. Consuming root vegetables and herbs helps to anchor one's energy downward, promoting stability and presence. This is particularly useful for individuals dealing with anxiety, insomnia, or feeling scattered and ungrounded. The practical application is to incorporate these roots and herbs into your daily routine. Fresh ginger and turmeric can be added to meals, smoothies, or consumed as tea. Garlic should be crushed and allowed to sit for 10 minutes before cooking to maximize allicin production. Ginseng can be taken as tea or supplement. Burdock can be cooked like any root vegetable or consumed as tea. Holy basil makes an excellent daily tea. Start with 1 or 2 and gradually expand your repertoire, paying attention to how each affects your energy and well-being. As powerful as these earth medicines are, they are perfectly complemented by our next category of healing foods. Fruits that provide not just nutrition but vitality and life force in their sweetest, most appealing form. Now let's take a look at nature's sweet medicine and how it supports vibrant health. Food 5. Fruits of vitality. Nature's sweet medicine. As we move beyond the grounding power of roots and the concentrated nutrition of nuts and seeds, we encounter foods that embody pure vitality and life force, fresh fruits. In Buddhist dietary wisdom, fruits hold a special place as gifts from nature that are fit for immediate consumption with no need to cook, process, or otherwise alter them. They're perfect just as they are. The Buddha himself, according to tradition, ate fresh fruits regularly and recommended them as ideal foods for maintaining health and clarity. What makes fruit so healing is the combination of quick energy, high water content, fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, and phytonutrients, all wrapped in packages that are naturally appealing and easy to digest. The first thing to understand about fruits in the Buddhist healing tradition is that they're consumed fresh, ripe, and in season. This is crucial. A fruit picked before ripeness and shipped across the world cannot compare to a locally grown fruit eaten at peak ripeness. The life force, the vitality, the healing energy is simply different. Buddhist monks who maintained orchards and fruit trees understood this intuitively. They would eat fruits as they ripened naturally, following the seasons, and preserving excess through drying or fermentation for times of scarcity. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, goji berries are among the most powerful healing fruits on the planet. They're packed full of anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that protect your brain, heart, and every cell of your body from oxidative damage and inflammation. Buddhist communities in mountainous regions where wild berries grew abundantly were known for their longevity and mental sharpness into old age. Modern research affirms that those who regularly consume berries protect against cognitive decline, support cardiovascular health and regulate blood sugar, and may protect against cancers. The deep colors indicate high levels of phytonutrients. The darker, the better. Simple and humble apples were appreciated in Buddhist dietary practice to maintain a healthy digestive system and ensure an even supply of energy. The pectin fiber in apples feeds beneficial gut bacteria and helps remove toxins from the intestinal tract. Apples also contain quercetin, a flavonoid with powerful anti-inflammatory and antihistamine properties. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apples support liver function, help regulate blood sugar, promote healthy cholesterol levels, and their fiber promotes healthy bowel movements, essential for eliminating toxins. Citrus fruits, from oranges to lemons and limes to grapefruits, were valued wherever they would grow, especially in Buddhist communities throughout Southeast Asia and southern China. In addition to the high vitamin C content boosting immune function and collagen production, citrus fruits contain unique flavonoids that protect blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and promote detoxification. The monks often began their day with warm water and lemon, a ritual that supports digestion, hydration, and gentle liver cleansing. The bioflavonoids in citrus enhance the absorption and effectiveness of vitamin C and make the fruits more potent than isolated vitamin C supplements. Papaya and other tropical fruits common in Buddhist regions of Southeast Asia have some surprising digestive benefits. Papaya contains papain, an enzyme which helps to break down proteins and soothe the digestion process. The monks who traveled and had different foods at each place would commonly consume papaya after meals to avoid bloating and discomfort. Fresh papaya also consists of a host of enzymes that create an anti-inflammatory response and promote healing throughout the body. Similarly, pineapple contains bromelain, another very powerful digestive enzyme with anti-inflammatory properties. Pomegranates, although more laborious to eat, were highly valued in Buddhist regions of the Middle East and India for their powerful medicinal properties. Every part of the pomegranate contains potent antioxidants, from seeds to juice, to even the peel. Pomegranates support cardiovascular health, have anti-cancer properties, reduce inflammation, and may help preserve cognitive function. The ellagic acid in pomegranates is particularly effective at protecting cells from oxidative damage. What is key in Buddhist dietary wisdom is not the variety of fruits consumed, but how and when they should be eaten. Generally speaking, fruits are eaten at the beginning of meals and never after. This is because fruits are easily digested. When fruits are eaten after a heavy meal, they just ferment in the stomach during digestion of the other food, causing bloating and digestive discomfort. When fruits are eaten first or alone, they move quickly through the stomach, giving the body an immediate energy boost and allowing for maximum nutrient intake. There is also the practice of eating fruits with awareness and appreciation. When you slowly eat a piece of fruit, noticing the taste, the feel in your mouth, the smell, and the sensations in your body that this fruit produces, it becomes meditation. You are not just taking calories into your body. You are receiving a gift of nature, joining in the rhythms of growth and nourishment, being one part of the web of life. This kind of awareness will enhance digestion and absorption of nutrition and cultivate full presence and thankfulness. From an energetic perspective, fruits carry light, expansive energy. They grow in the sun, reaching upward, and they bring that solar vitality into your being. That is why fruits are often eaten in the morning or during active parts of the day. They give quick energy and clarity for the mind. At the same time, for some, the overconsumption of fruits, especially those high in sugar and from the tropics, can be ungrounding. It is all about the balance. As always in Buddhist dietary wisdom, these recommendations are logical and translate into the practical advice to consume 2 to 3 servings daily of fresh, ripe fruit, with variety to get different nutrients and nutritional benefits. Berries should be consumed regularly, as they are so high in antioxidants. Fruit can always be local and seasonal because it is what is available. Organic matters for fruits eaten with their skin, as conventionally grown fruits can carry pesticide residues. And of course, whole fruits are far superior to fruit juices, which lack fiber and provide too much concentrated sugar. As we go from fruits, with their sweet vitality, into our next category of healing, we come into the area of beverages that have served for millennia as both medicine and meditation. Let's explore the healing teas and sacred plants that Buddhist monks have relied upon for thousands of years to maintain health, clarity, and spiritual awareness. Food 6. Healing teas and sacred plants from Buddhist monks from snow-clad mountains of Tibet to jungles of Southeast Asia. Monks come together at any time of the day for a tea in every Buddhist monastery. This is not merely a social habit, but rather a deep healing practice combining hydration, medicine, and mindfulness all into one simple ritual. Teas consumed in Buddhist communities are carefully chosen for medicinal properties, effects on consciousness, and ability to support physical health and spiritual practice. These are not ordinary teas, but sacred plants, which were refined over several thousand years into powerful healing tools. Of all beverages, green tea stands probably as the most important in Buddhist dietary wisdom, particularly within Japanese Zen and Chinese Chan monasteries. Green tea contains a special amino acid, L-theanine, which fosters calm alertness, the exact state of mind desired for meditation. L-theanine increases alpha brain waves associated with relaxation, while simultaneously improving focus and attention. It is why monks would drink green tea before and during long meditation sessions. However, the benefits of green tea extend much further than mental clarity. It is filled with catechins, with EG being one of the most powerful antioxidants ever discovered. These compounds protect against cancer, support cardiovascular health, enhance fat burning, improve brain function, and may even increase lifespan by protecting cells from aging. The real value of green tea, however, lies in the gentle, steady energy it provides without the crash that follows a cup of coffee. A modest dose of caffeine, along with L-theanine, creates a balanced state of alert calmness. Buddhist monks understood this intuitively. They had to stay awake and focus during long meditation sessions, but they also needed to remain in a calm and centered mode. Green tea provided exactly that balance. Modern research confirms the fact that regular consumption of green tea is related to better cognitive function, lower risks of neurodegenerative diseases, and increased lifespan. Pu'er is a fermented Chinese tea that has a lot of digestive and metabolic advantages. The process of fermentation involves the creation of unique compounds that have positive effects on gut health, fat metabolism, and even blood sugar. Consumed as yak butter tea in large quantities, Tibetan monks maintained amazing levels of health and vitality despite having a diet so high in fat. It supported digestion and metabolism. Pu'er tea is most helpful after heavy meals or for people suffering from metabolic disorders such as high cholesterol or insulin resistance. Chrysanthemum tea is a favorite in Chinese Buddhist monasteries, where it is appreciated for its cooling and calming nature, ideal for soothing inflammation and clearing heat from the body. According to Buddhist medicine, a fair number of modern health problems can be attributed to excess heat, inflammation, high blood pressure, anxiety, insomnia, and red, irritated eyes. Chrysanthemum tea cools this heat with gentle efficiency, while supporting liver function and providing antioxidants to protect vision and cognitive function. It is traditionally drunk in the afternoon or evening to foster calm and ready the body for rest. Ginger and turmeric tea, consumed as a tea. These roots possess special healing powers. Hot water makes different compound extractions than chewing the entire root, and the heat itself is therapeutic. A simple tea of simmering fresh ginger and turmeric root with a pinch of black pepper and a touch of honey creates one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory beverages one can consume. Buddhist monks with joint pain, digestive issues, or respiratory congestion would drink this tea daily with remarkable results. Sacred to both Hindu and Buddhist traditions, Tulsi or holy basil tea may be the ultimate modern daily tea for stress. An adaptogenic herb. Tulsi helps your nervous system deal with stress without depleting it. It diminishes cortisol, assuages anxiety, and acts as an immunomodulatory and antimicrobial agent. Drinking Tulsi tea regularly can help break the cycle of chronic stress that underlies so many modern health problems. Buddhist practitioners report that Tulsi supports meditation by calming the mind without inducing somnolence. Althoroibos is not traditionally used within the confines of a Buddhist monastery. It should be mentioned because it aligns so well with Buddhist dietary principles. It is naturally caffeine-free, perfect for evening intake, with unique antioxidants supporting cardiovascular health by reducing inflammation and protecting against oxidative stress. The mild, naturally sweet flavor of this herbal tea will also appeal to those who do not usually like herbal teas. In Buddhist monasteries, even the practice of drinking tea is a meditation in itself. Full attention is paid to the preparation of tea. It is served and drunk with awareness of the smell, temperature, taste, and sensations produced. And this turns a simple drink into a healing ceremony that rejuvenates body, psyche, and spirit all at once. This is taken to its ultimate extent in the Japanese tea ceremony, developed in Zen monasteries, each movement precise and intentional, each sip a moment of complete presence. What is important to understand is that these teas work cumulatively. Drinking green tea once won't transform your health, but drinking it daily for months and years creates profound changes in your cellular health, brain function, and disease resistance. This is preventive medicine in its truest form. Not preventing disease by attacking it, but by creating an internal environment of such vitality and balance that disease cannot gain a foothold. The practical recommendation is to replace coffee, sodas, and other beverages with healing teas. Start your day with green tea or a ginger, turmeric tea for energy and clarity. Drink more green or white tea during the day for sustained focus. In the afternoon, switch to gentler teas such as chrysanthemum and tulsi. Always use high-quality organic teas when possible. After all, tea plants accumulate pesticides and heavy metals from the soil. As powerful as these teas are for supporting your physical health and mental clarity, the next category of healing foods addresses something even more fundamental: your gut health, the foundation of all health, recognized by Buddhist wisdom long before the microbiome was uncovered by modern science. Let's dive in and explore the fermented foods and why they are so essential for awakening the body's healing intelligence. Food 7. Fermented foods. Awakening the gut. The second brain we've saved, perhaps the most crucial healing food for last. Fermented foods. In Buddhist monasteries across Asia, fermentation wasn't just a preservation technique. It was understood as a transformation process that rendered foods more nutritious, easier to digest, and powerfully medicinal. From the miso and pickled vegetables of Japanese Zen monasteries to the fermented tea and vegetables of Tibetan Buddhist communities, fermented foods were consumed daily, often at every meal. Though monks didn't know about bacteria and microbiomes, they did observe something undeniable. People who ate fermented foods regularly had better digestion, stronger immunity, clearer thinking, and more stable emotions. Modern science has now uncovered why fermented foods are so profoundly healing. They directly support your gut microbiome. The trillions of bacteria living in your intestines that influence virtually every aspect of your health. Your gut microbiome influences your immune system, manufactures neurotransmitters that regulate mood, speaks directly to your brain via the vagus nerve, modulates inflammation throughout your body, and even impacts which genes are expressed. When your gut microbiome is healthy and diverse, your whole being works better, and when it is disrupted by processed foods, antibiotics, stress, and toxins, disease follows. Fermented foods provide beneficial bacteria that replenish and diversify your gut microbiome, but they do something even more important. They provide the beneficial compounds that these bacteria produce in the course of fermentation. When vegetables are fermented, beneficial bacteria break down complex compounds into simpler forms that are more easily digested and bioavailable. They also produce vitamins, especially B vitamins and vitamin K2, that weren't there in the original food. They make organic acids that support digestion and inhibit bad bacteria. They break down anti-nutrients that would otherwise interfere with mineral absorption. Of the most medicinal foods in existence, miso is perhaps one of the most important fermented soybean pastes at the heart of Japanese Buddhist cuisine. Miso is made by fermenting soybeans with koji mold and salt, and thus contains probiotics, enzymes, amino acids, and isoflavones. Consuming miso soup daily, as is commonly done in Japanese Buddhist monasteries, supports the digestive system, provides complete protein, gives beneficial bacteria to the gut, and contains compounds that protect against damage from radiation and cancer. A depth of nutrition impossible to replicate with unfermented foods develops through this prolonged period of fermentation, often measured in years. Kimchi and fermented vegetables, which are cornerstones of Korean Buddhist temple cuisine, are arguably the most accessible and versatile of the fermented foods. Kimchi is the result of a process wherein fermented cabbage and other vegetables ferment with salt, garlic, ginger, and chili peppers. The result is a living food teeming with beneficial bacteria, billions of probiotics per S. Irving. Kimchi aids digestion, reduces inflammation, and provides vitamins and minerals, including substances shown to lower cholesterol, support weight loss, and protect against cancer. The beauty of fermented vegetables is their versatility. You can ferment almost any vegetable, creating an array of flavors and bacterial strains. Tempeh is another fermented soy product popular among Indonesian Buddhists, and it provides complete protein that is more digestible and bioavailable than in unfermented soybeans. The fermentation process knits the soybeans into a solid cake, and it breaks down some of the compounds that inhibit digestion and the absorption of minerals. This traditional Indonesian food is rich in probiotics, B vitamins, and has active compounds that have been linked to cardiovascular health and the prevention of certain cancers. Pickled vegetables were served with nearly every meal in Buddhist monasteries and were made through lacto-fermentation rather than vinegar pickling. These provide friendly bacteria for gut health, support digestion, and make vegetables more nutritious and digestible. Traditional pickles, being made through fermentation, are completely different from modern vinegar-based pickles. They are alive with friendly bacteria and enzymes to foster gut health. With special regard to pu'er, which we discussed previously, fermented tea undergoes microbial fermentation, creating unique compounds that help support metabolism, digestion, and gut health. The fermentation process transforms the chemistry of the tea into compounds that have specific benefits to the digestive system and metabolism. What makes fermented foods integral to awakening your inner doctor is their ability to affect the gut. Brain axis directly. Your gut manufactures around 90% of serotonin, plus other neurotransmitters used in mood, cognition, and behavior regulation. When your gut isn't healthy, neurotransmitter production gets interrupted, resulting in anxiety, depression, foggy thinking, and poor mental well-being. Fermented foods reinstate the health of the gut. Thus, mentally and emotionally, you will find an improvement. Many report improvements in their mood, clearer thinking, reduced anxiety, and increased emotional stability after incorporating fermented foods into their daily diet. In Buddhist terms, it is at the gut that all physical and emotional vitality resides. When the digestion is good and the gut is healthy, the energy and clarity are there for spiritual practice. When digestion is poor and the gut is in bad condition, everything suffers: energy, emotions, mental clarity, and even spiritual awareness. That is why there is such emphasis in Buddhist dietary wisdom on fermented foods. Proper food combining mindful eating and appropriate portions to support digestive health. The practical application is simple but needs to be consistent. Include fermented foods in 1 or more meals a day. This can be miso soup in the morning, kimchi or sauerkraut accompanying your lunch, or tempeh for dinner. Start off with small quantities, a tablespoon or 2, and gradually build up as your gut gets used to them. Always opt for naturally fermented foods, not vinegar, based pickles or products heat, pasteurized to kill the good bacteria. If possible, make your own fermented vegetables. It is a lot easier than most people think, and it means you can be certain you are getting full probiotic value. Having explored all 7 healing foods, the important thing to learn now is this: these foods are most powerful, not when they are eaten mindlessly, but when they're consumed with awareness and intention. In Buddhist eating, every meal becomes a medicine. And that is what we will explore next: the practice of mindful eating. Mindful eating, the Buddhist way of turning food into medicine. Having discussed the 7 healing foods, we come to an equally important subject. How you eat is as important as what you eat. In Buddhist monasteries, meals are not affairs where food is consumed in a rush, oblivious to everything but the food. They are sacred rituals where every bite is taken with full awareness, thankfulness, and intention. This practice, called mindful eating, elevates ordinary food into potent medicine by engaging your full presence and triggering digestive processes that work properly only when you are relaxed and aware. The modern eating experience is often the opposite of mindful. We eat while watching screens, working, driving, or walking. We eat quickly, barely chewing, hardly tasting. We eat unconsciously, finishing entire meals without really noticing what we consumed. We eat while stressed, anxious, or emotionally upset. This way of eating sabotages even the healthiest foods. When you eat while distracted or stressed, your body remains in sympathetic nervous system activation, fight or flight mode. In this state, digestion is suppressed. Blood flow is directed away from your digestive organs toward your muscles. Digestive enzymes aren't properly released. Your stomach doesn't produce enough acid. The result is poor digestion, nutrient malabsorption, bloating, discomfort, and over time, serious digestive disorders. Buddhist eating begins before the first bite. In monasteries, meals begin with a moment of silence and gratitude. Monks reflect on the food in front of them, where it came from, who grew it, how it arrived on their plate, the sunshine and rain and soil that nourished it. This isn't just ritual. It is actually a practice that switches your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic activation, the rest and digest state where proper digestion happens. When you stop and acknowledge your food with gratitude, You are literally activating the biological switches that allow for optimal digestion and nutrient absorption. The second component of mindful eating is chewing, something most people do poorly. Buddhist monks chew each bite thoroughly, sometimes 50 times or more, until food is completely liquefied before swallowing. This is not arbitrary. Digestion begins in your mouth. Your saliva contains enzymes that start breaking down carbohydrates and fats. The more you chew, the more surface area you create for digestive enzymes to work on. Thorough chewing also sends a message to your stomach to prepare appropriate amounts of acid and enzymes for what is coming. When you swallow poorly chewed food, your digestive system has to work much harder, often incompletely digesting food and creating bloating, gas, and nutrient deficiencies. Another cornerstone of Buddhist dietary practice is to eat slowly. The brain receives satiety messages from the stomach in about 20 minutes. If you eat fast, you will have consumed much more food than what your body requires. When your brain realizes that you are full, that is how one ends up eating more than what they need, gains weight, digestion becomes sluggish, and puts an excessive burden on one's digestive system. Eating slowly, savoring each morsel naturally reduces eating, aids better digestion, and makes you feel full. You enjoy eating the food because you taste it, rather than gobbling it down unconsciously. Mindful eating also means eating undistracted. In Buddhist monasteries, meals are often taken in noble silence. No talking, no entertainment, just complete presence with the food and the act of eating. This lets you give full attention to the sensory experience, the colors, textures, aromas, flavors, and sensations of food. It also lets you notice your body's signals when you are satisfied, when certain foods don't agree with you, how different foods affect your energy and mood. This feedback is crucial in developing wisdom about what your unique body needs. Another aspect of mindful eating is portion awareness. Buddhist monks traditionally eat only until they are about 80% full, never stuffing themselves. This practice, known as hara-hachi-bu in Japanese culture, that has been influenced by Buddhist principles, is one of the keys to longevity in populations such as Okinawa. Eating to 80% capacity means that you provide your body with adequate nutrition without overwhelming your digestive system. It keeps your energy levels stable rather than plummeting after overeating. It allows your body to digest food completely before the next meal, and it fosters self-awareness and self-control rather than unconscious, compulsive eating. Mindful eating also encompasses food combining wisdom that Buddhist dietary traditions developed over many centuries. Certain foods digest well together, others create problems when combined. For example, fruits digest very quickly and should generally be eaten alone or before meals, not after. Proteins and starches require different digestive enzymes and are harder to digest together than when separated. Heavy, complex meals late at night interfere with sleep and overnight healing processes. These are not rigid rules, but guidelines based on understanding how digestion works and what supports versus hinders it. The surroundings you eat in are important too. In Buddhist practice, meals are taken in a peaceful, clean, beautiful space. There is no rushing, no chaos, no negative conversation. The atmosphere itself supports digestion and nourishment. Contrast this to eating in a car, at a messy desk, or in a loud, stressful environment. The difference in how food digests and how nourished you feel is profound. Perhaps most importantly, mindful eating cultivates a relationship with food based on nourishment, rather than emotional need, distraction, or addiction. As you eat mindfully, you begin to notice how different foods actually make you feel. Not just immediately, but hours later, you start recognizing that the processed junk food that tastes good for a moment leaves you feeling terrible afterward. You notice that simple whole foods leave you feeling energized, clear, and satisfied. This experiential wisdom is far more powerful than any intellectual knowledge about nutrition. The practical application of eating mindfully starts with one meal. Choose one meal daily to eat with full attention. Turn off screens. Sit down properly. Take 3 deep breaths before eating. Observe your food with gratitude. Chew thoroughly, eat slowly, and pay attention to how you feel. Just this simple practice applied to one meal daily will transform your relationship with food and improve digestion dramatically. As you get used to this practice, gradually expand it to more meals until eating mindfully becomes your natural way of being with food. We build on our knowledge of eating consciously to see that it is necessarily related to gratitude and the dimension of the sacred when it comes to nourishing ourselves. We shall see how gratitude and even silence while eating can enhance food's healing power in ways which seem almost magical, yet are based on both ancient wisdom and modern science. How gratitude and silence transform the healing power of food in Buddhist monasteries. Before every meal is eaten, monks would bow and recite verses of gratitude. They thank the farmers who grew the food, the sun and rain that nourished it, the countless beings whose work brought it into their bowls, and the earth itself for its generosity. This isn't empty ritual or religious dogma. It is a powerful practice that fundamentally changes how food affects your body and being. Modern science is now uncovering what Buddhist monks knew through experience. Gratitude is one of the most potent medicines available, and applied to eating, it changes food from mere fuel into authentic healing. Well, when you stop and feel true appreciation before eating, several amazing things happen in the body. First, gratitude turns on your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest state. Remember, digestion only truly occurs when you are in parasympathetic mode. Stress, rushing, and negative emotion flip on your sympathetic nervous system, which essentially turns off digestion. But gratitude does just the opposite. It tells your body you are safe, relaxed, and ready for nourishment. Just this one shift drastically improves how well you digest food and absorb nutrients. Research in psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how thoughts and emotions affect your immune system, has shown that gratitude produces measurable changes in brain chemistry and immune function. When you feel grateful, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitters that also support healthy digestion. Your heart rate variability improves, indicating better stress resilience. Inflammation decreases throughout your body. Cortisol levels drop, allowing better blood sugar control and reduced fat storage, all from just pausing to feel grateful before eating. But gratitude does something even more profound. It changes your consciousness and energy state. Buddhist wisdom teaches that food absorbs not just physical energy, but emotional and mental energy too. When you come to the food with a mindset of gratitude, appreciation, and reverence, you literally shift the energy of that food again. This isn't mysticism. Quantum physics has shown that consciousness affects matter at deep levels. Water crystal research by Masaru Emoto, although controversial, indicated that human intention and emotion could affect the structure of water. Considering that most food contains a good amount of water and your body is highly made up of water, it isn't that far of a leap to consider that maybe gratitude actually changes food at a molecular level. Beyond the measurable physiological effects, gratitude transforms your subjective experience of eating. You enjoy your food more when you are grateful for it. You feel more satisfied with less. You notice flavors and qualities you would have missed. A simple meal is deeply pleasurable and nourishing in ways beyond calories and nutrients. This matters because one of the biggest problems in modern eating is that people don't truly feel satisfied. They eat and eat, searching for satisfaction that never comes because they're eating unconsciously without presence or gratitude. Another Buddhist monastic practice that extends these benefits is silence during meals. When you eat in silence, without conversation, entertainment, or distraction, all of your attention can rest on the food and the act of eating. It nurtures mindfulness, digestion, and a true connection to what one is consuming. Most often in our culture, mealtimes are social events. Conversation may fill the air, which is not necessarily negative, but there is much value in sometimes eating completely in silence, fully present with the nourishing experience. Silent eating also enables you to hear the signals from your body more strongly. You notice when you've had enough, the subtle feelings certain foods create, the way your energy shifts as you eat. This feedback is constantly available, but usually drowned out by external noise and distraction. When you eat in silence, you develop a direct, intuitive understanding of what your body needs and how different foods affect you. Eating is combined with meditation in some phases of Buddhist practice, especially in Zen monasteries. The monks eat as they meditate, fully present and aware. Every single bite is a kind of meditation. Each chew is mindful. The whole meal becomes a practice of presence and gratitude, a communion with the sustenance that keeps life going. This turns eating from an unconscious habitual act to a sacred practice, nourishing body, mind, and spirit together. Gratitude in Buddhist food practice has a social and ethical dimension too. When you are truly grateful for food, then you become far more aware of its source. You think of the farmers and workers, the soil and rain and sunshine, and this naturally leads to more ethical choices about food. You want to support those farmers who treat both the land and workers well. You avoid foods produced through exploitation or cruelty. You reduce waste, because throwing away food feels like disrespecting the labor and resources that produced it. Gratitude also combats one of the most toxic attitudes of modern society: entitlement. People feel entitled to abundant, cheap, available food without consideration for what such a thing requires to be brought into reality. Entitlement encourages waste, poor choices, and a complete disconnection from that very real understanding that food is a gift and not a right. When you practice gratitude, you remember that food is precious, that having enough to eat is a privilege that many lack, that every meal is an opportunity to be nourished and grateful, rather than just another unconscious refueling. The practical application is exquisitely simple before each meal. Take 3 breaths and pause. Look at your food. Consider its origins, the plants that grew, the animals if relevant, the people who tended and prepared it, the elements that allowed it to be produced. Feel true gratitude for what will nourish you. If you are with others, you may want to express that silently or share it briefly. Then eat slowly, staying connected to that sense of gratitude throughout your meal. You might also practice occasional silent meals. Once a week, eat one meal in complete silence with full attention on the food and the act of eating. Note how different this feels from your normal eating experience. Note how much more you taste, how much more satisfied you feel, how different your digestion feels. As we weave gratitude and mindful presence into our eating practice, we begin to perceive food not just as physical fuel, but rather as part of something far greater, the interrelatedness of all things, and the ethical dimension of our choices. This invites us into the deep Buddhist teaching about how clean food creates a clean mind and contributes to clean karma. The connection between clean food, clean mind, and clean karma, one of the most powerful principles in Buddhist thought, has to do with the interconnectedness of all things. Nothing exists in a vacuum. Everything influences everything else. This principle, in particular, holds true for food, consciousness, and karma. According to Buddhist thought, what you eat does not simply impact your physical body, but actually affects the quality of your mind, your emotional state, your spiritual sensitivity, and even your karmic course. Clean food creates a clean mind, and a clean mind generates clean karma. None of this is metaphorical or symbolic. It is practical truth that you can experience yourself when you change how and what you eat. Let's begin with what constitutes clean food within Buddhist dietary wisdom. Clean food is food pure in several dimensions. First, it is physically pure, free from toxins, chemicals, pesticides, and artificial additives. It is whole, unprocessed, as close to its natural state as possible. Second, it is energetically pure, fresh, vital, full of life force, rather than dead or degraded. Third, it is ethically pure, produced without cruelty, exploitation, or environmental destruction. When food is clean in all these dimensions, it nourishes you completely without introducing pollution, harm, or negative energy into your system. The Buddhist principle of ahimsa, or non-harming, is perhaps the leading concept in understanding clean food. Traditional Buddhist monks follow vegetarian or vegan diets, not primarily for health reasons, but rather because consuming foods that are produced through violence and suffering creates karmic entanglement with that suffering. When an animal is killed, especially under the conditions of modern slaughter that involve tremendous fear and pain, its tissues flood with stress hormones. When you eat that meat, you are literally taking that fear and suffering into your body. But beyond the physical residue of stress hormones, Buddhist philosophy teaches that you are also taking on subtle karmic consequences of participating in that suffering through your food choices. This may sound abstract, but reflect on your own experience. Don't you notice that after eating certain foods, particularly heavy meats or highly processed junk food, you don't feel just physically heavy, but also mentally dull, emotionally darker, more irritable, or aggressive? It is not a coincidence. The quality of food directly affects the quality of consciousness. Clean, light, plant-based foods create a light, clear, peaceful state of mind. Heavy, violent, toxic foods create a heavy, clouded, agitated state of mind. Modern neuroscience confirms this ancient wisdom. We now know that your gut microbiome, which is completely dependent on what you eat, manufactures neurotransmitters that directly impact your mood, thoughts, and behavior. A diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats creates a gut environment that fosters inflammation and generates compounds that heighten anxiety, depression, and brain fog. On the contrary, a diet anchored on whole, plant-based foods creates a gut environment that generates anti-inflammatory compounds and neurotransmitters that promote calmness, clarity, and emotional stability. Equally important to understand is its connection to karma. According to Buddhist thought, karma is not a matter of punishment or reward meted out by an outside judge, but a natural law of cause and effect, operating at the level of consciousness and action. Every action creates a consequence, like a ripple that spreads out, eventually returning to you. When you choose food produced through suffering, factory-farmed animals, crops harvested by exploited workers, foods that destroy ecosystems, you are creating karmic ripples of suffering that affect, if not those directly harmed, your own consciousness and life trajectory. On the other hand, every time you choose food produced with care, kindness, and respect for life and land, positive karmic ripples are created. You are supporting farmers and food systems that mirror your values. You are reducing suffering in the world. You are participating in a web of relationships based on mutual benefit rather than exploitation. This creates a different quality of consciousness, one that is more aligned with peace, compassion, and well-being. Buddhist monks suggest that meditation goes deeper and is clearer on the heels of a clean diet. The mental chatter slows down, emotional reactivity decreases, awareness sharpens, concentration strengthens. This is because a clean diet creates a clean mind. Literally, when you are not constantly burdening your body with toxins to eliminate, inflammatory foods to deal with, and the energetic residue of suffering and exploitation, your system can operate at a higher level. Your energy isn't consumed by constant damage control. It is available for healing growth and spiritual development. There is also a feedback loop developing. As you eat cleaner food, your mind becomes clearer. As your mind becomes clearer, you naturally desire cleaner food. You grow more sensitive to how different foods affect you. Foods that you once enjoyed may start to taste too heavy, too artificial, and too disconnected from nature. Your body's innate wisdom, your inner doctor, becomes more audible. You find yourself craving exactly what you need and repelled by what hurts you. Clean food and clean karma have social and environmental dimensions that cannot be disregarded. Modern industrial food is based on the exploitation of animals, workers, land, and water. Every dollar you spend on food is a vote for the system you want to support. When you choose organic vegetables from local farmers, you are voting for sustainable agriculture. When you buy fair trade products, you are voting against worker exploitation. When you choose plant-based options, you are voting against animal cruelty and environmental destruction. These choices matter not just for your personal health, but for the collective karma we are creating as a society. Buddhist teachings also emphasize the primacy of intention. Two people may eat exactly the same meal, but if one eats with gratitude, awareness, and good intention, and the other with greed, resentment, or obliviousness, then it will have a different effect. The quality of consciousness you apply to the process of eating influences how food digests in your body, and what kind of karma is produced through the action of eating. That is why mindful eating is not simply about digestion, but about applying pure intention and awareness to the essential act of nourishing yourself. From a practical standpoint, creating a clean food lifestyle doesn't require perfection. It requires direction and consistency. First, get rid of the most obviously unclean foods, heavily processed products, foods with long ingredient lists full of chemicals, conventionally raised factory farmed animal products. Replace them with organic, whole plant-based options. Support local farmers who treat land and workers well. Choose food that lines up with your values and supports the world you want to create. Pay attention to how you feel, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. As you clean up your diet, notice if your thinking becomes clearer, your emotions more stable, your meditation deeper, your sense of connection to life stronger. These subjective changes are just as important as any physical health improvements. They're evidence that clean food is creating a cleaner mind and better karma. The more we learn about how food touches every dimension of our being, the more imperative it becomes to address one of the most fundamental truths in both ancient Buddhist wisdom and modern medical science. Most diseases don't start in your heart, brain, or some other vital organ. They start in your gut. Gut health is the foundation of all health, and the Buddhist diet specifically addresses that crucial fact, why most diseases begin in the gut, and how Buddhist diet fixes it. Finally, modern medicine is catching up with what Buddhist healers knew several millennia ago, that the gut is the root of health or disease. Over 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates said, "All disease begins in the gut," and the wisdom was echoed in Buddhist medical traditions. In Buddhist physiology, digestion isn't just about food. It is the source of your life energy, linked with your immune system, and the place where your physical body and consciousness connect. When your gut is healthy, your entire being can flourish. If your gut is compromised, disease inevitably follows. The figures are astounding. 70 to 80% of your immune system is in and around your gut. Your intestinal lining contains more immune cells than any other part of your body. This makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Your gut is where the outside world, in the form of food, becomes inside. Your immune system is constantly making judgment calls about what is entering, nutrition to take in, or threat to destroy. When this system is working well, you are safe from pathogens and toxins, yet able to absorb maximal nutrition. And when it is not working, everything goes wrong. The gut microbiome is the ecosystem of trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms living in your intestines that is now recognized as an organ system unto its own. These microbes are not passive passengers. They are active participants in your health. They manufacture vitamins, especially the B vitamins and vitamin K. They form short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation and feed your intestinal cells. They train your immune system. They make neurotransmitters that impact your brain. They guard against infections. They even influence which genes are turned on or off in your body. When your microbiome is diverse and balanced, it forms the foundation for robust health. And when it is depleted or imbalanced, known as dysbiosis, disease processes accelerate. The key point here is that your microbiome is completely at the mercy of your diet. The bacteria in your gut feed on the food you eat, and different foods feed different bacteria. When you consume a diet high in a variety of plant fibers, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, you feed beneficial bacteria that support health. These bacteria feast on plant fibers and, in return, produce compounds that dampen inflammation, fortify your gut barrier, support immune function, and communicate health signals to your brain. It is precisely this diet that Buddhist wisdom has been touting for thousands of years. On the other hand, when you are on a typical Western diet filled with processed foods, sugar, unhealthy fats, and animal products, you are feeding the bad bacteria and fungi that promote disease. The organisms create inflammatory compounds that have the effect of damaging your intestinal lining, triggering immune reactions, and sending disease signals throughout your body. They can crowd out good bacteria, thereby reducing diversity and resilience in your microbiome. Over time, this sets up a condition known as dysbiosis, an imbalanced gut ecosystem that is the root cause of so many health problems. The link between gut health and disease is astounding. Autoimmune diseases, in which your immune system attacks your own tissues, almost always involve gut dysfunction. The hypothesis is that when your intestinal barrier becomes permeable, leaky gut, incompletely digested food particles, and bacterial components leak into your bloodstream, causing immune confusion and autoimmune reactions. Inflammatory bowel diseases, irritable bowel syndrome, allergies, eczema, asthma, all related to gut dysfunction. And of course, there are the very clear links to various mental health conditions, including depression, anxiety, brain fog, and even autism spectrum disorders via the gut-brain axis. Gut microbiome composition is intimately related to metabolic diseases, including obesity, diabetes, and fatty liver disease. Whereas some bacterial profiles promote fat storage, insulin resistance, and metabolic dysfunction. Others support healthy metabolism. There are surprising links between gut health and cardiovascular disease. Certain gut bacteria produce compounds from dietary choline and carnitine, found in meat and eggs, that promote atherosclerosis. Gut health influences cancer risk. Chronic inflammation and certain bacterial populations can promote tumor development. The Buddhist diet addresses gut health through various means. It is plant-centered, so it delivers a wide array of fibers that feed beneficial bacteria. It can include fermented foods that directly supply beneficial bacteria and their health. Promoting metabolites. It precludes processed foods, refined sugars, and excess animal products that supply harmful bacteria and fuel the flames of inflammation. It emphasizes eating appropriate portions at regular times to support healthy digestive rhythms. It also includes herbs and spices with numerous antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory effects to further balance the gut ecosystem. Buddhist dietary wisdom also recognized the importance of digestive fire. What in Ayurvedic tradition is called Agni, that is your body's ability to digest food properly, extract its nutrients, and eliminate its waste. When digestive fire is strong, you can eat a meal and be energized with no bloating, gas, or discomfort. If it is weak, even healthy foods create problems because they are not digested thoroughly. The Buddhist diet fosters strong digestive fire through several practices, eating warm cooked foods rather than exclusively raw foods, incorporating digestive spices such as ginger, cumin, and fennel into foods, avoiding overeating, not eating late at night, and drinking warm water or tea rather than cold drinks with meals. Another powerful tool in gut healing is the practice of fasting, which we'll explore more in our next section. When you give your digestive system regular breaks from the constant work of processing food, several beneficial things happen. Your gut lining can repair itself. Beneficial bacteria can rebalance without constant incoming food affecting their population. Inflammation decreases, and your immune system can focus on cleaning up, rather than constantly responding to new food antigens. This is why many Buddhist traditions incorporate regular fasting practices. Understanding that disease starts in the gut completely changes how you approach health. Instead of waiting for symptoms, then medicating to suppress symptoms, you go to the root cause by healing your gut. This means cleaning up your diet and adding fermented foods, eating ample plant fibers, avoiding gut-damaging foods and medications when possible, managing stress, as it profoundly affects gut health, and supporting your microbiome through the foods and practices the Buddhist dietary tradition has refined over thousands of years. The practical application is making gut health your primary health priority. Honestly assess your current gut function. Do you have regular, comfortable bowel movements? Do you often feel bloated, gassy, or otherwise uncomfortable after eating? Are you sensitive to certain foods? Do you have allergies, skin issues, or mood problems that could trace their roots to gut dysfunction? Then systematically apply the gut healing aspects of the Buddhist diet. Increase plant diversity, add fermented foods, eliminate processed junk, practice mindful eating, and consider periodic fasting to give your gut time to heal. As we recognize the fundamental importance of gut health and how the Buddhist diet supports it, we come to our final principle, one which may perhaps seem counterintuitive in our culture of abundance, but is actually one of the most powerful healing practices available: the art of eating less and giving your body the space it needs to heal. Fasting, simplicity, and the art of eating less while healing more. We have explored 7 powerful healing foods and the principles of mindful, grateful eating that transform food into medicine. Now we come to what might be the most important practice of all, knowing when not to eat. In Buddhist monasteries, monks typically eat only 1 or 2 meals per Dalton Yai, often finishing all eating by noon. This isn't deprivation or asceticism for its own sake. It is a profound understanding that healing happens not during eating and digestion, but during the periods of rest between meals. The modern practice of constant eating, snacking throughout the day and eating late into the evening, is one of the primary reasons for our epidemic of chronic disease. Your body essentially exists in two states, fed and fasted. When you are fed, your body is involved in digestion and processing nutrients for hours after the meal. The body breaks down food, absorbs nutrients, and stores energy. This is anabolic, building up in the fasted state. Starting several hours after the last meal, the body operates on stored energy and begins, importantly, repair and cleanup processes. This is catabolic. Breaking down, cleaning out, both states are necessary, but modern eating patterns keep us perpetually in the fed state, never allowing the deep cleaning and repair that only happens during fasting. Whether you are fasting for 12 hours overnight, 16 hours by skipping breakfast, or 24 hours or more, remarkable healing processes are initiated. First, autophagy is increased. That is your body's cellular recycling system, whereby damaged proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, and cellular debris are broken down and recycled. Autophagy is one of the most important anti-aging and disease prevention processes in your body, but it is suppressed when you are constantly eating. Fasting is the most powerful way to turn on autophagy second. Fasting provokes the generation of new stem cells, particularly your immune system. When you fast, your body breaks down old, damaged immune cells and generates new, healthy ones. That is why fasting can help reset immune function, and has been shown to improve outcomes in everything from autoimmune diseases to chemotherapy side effects. Quite literally, your body rebuilds your immune system during periods of fasting. Third, fasting improves insulin sensitivity and metabolic flexibility. Modern diets, high in carbohydrates and frequent eating, keep insulin constantly elevated, leading to insulin resistance, the root cause of type 2 diabetes, obesity, and metabolic syndrome. During fasting, insulin drops, making your cells sensitive to this hormone once again. You become metabolically flexible too, meaning your body efficiently burns both glucose and fat for fuel instead of relying on constant carbohydrate intake. Fourthly, fasting decreases all kinds of inflammation within your body. The hallmark of virtually every chronic disease is inflammation. When you are always digesting food, particularly inflammatory foods, your immune system remains alert and inflammation remains high. Fasting gives your immune system a rest and allows inflammation to go down, giving your body time for healing. Fifth, fasting enhances mental clarity and focus. Buddhist monks fast, not just for physical health, but because they observe that fasting creates a clearer, sharper, more alert state of consciousness, perfect for meditation and spiritual practice. This isn't just subjective. Fasting increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports the growth of new neurons and protects existing ones. Fasting also produces ketones when fat is burned for fuel, and ketones are a superior brain fuel compared to glucose. The Buddhist approach to fasting emphasizes simplicity rather than complex protocols and eating in natural patterns. The most basic practice is to have a clear eating window each day and a clear fasting window. For instance, eating between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. gives you a 12-hour fast each night, the minimum needed for significant healing benefits. Extended to 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., it creates a 16-hour fast, which is even more beneficial. Consistency means fasting daily according to a rhythm that works with your life. Most Buddhist traditions eat one large meal per Dalton Y around mid-morning or midday, with perhaps a light meal in early morning. This creates a natural 20-hour fast each day. While this may be extreme, monks find they have more energy, a clearer mind, and are healthier than when they eat more frequently. For most people of the modern world, this level of fasting is not workable, but even a change toward fewer, more substantial meals rather than constant snacking has significant benefits. Fasting is companion to the practice of simplicity in eating. Buddhist dietary wisdom proposes that plain, whole foods in modest portions be eaten rather than elaborate, heavy meals which burden digestion. When you eat simple, easily digested foods, your body can process it efficiently and more quickly enter the fasted healing state. If you eat complex, heavy, processed meals, digestion takes longer and healing is delayed. There is also wisdom in the Buddhist habit of not eating late in the evening. When you eat close to bedtime, your body is trying to digest, while also trying to initiate sleep and overnight repair processes. These functions compete for energy and resources. Poor sleep results, digestion is incomplete, and healing is compromised. Finishing eating at least 3 to 4 hours before bed allows complete digestion before sleep, leading to better rest and more effective overnight healing. One of the most potent and underestimated benefits of fasting is that it actually reconnects you with real hunger. Most individuals in contemporary society never feel true hunger. They eat out of habit or because it is time, based on their emotions, or when food is available, not because of a physiological need for food. When one fasts, one distinguishes true hunger from boredom, stress, habit, or emotional needs. One learns to trust one's body signal. One realizes one does not need to eat as frequently as one had thought. The linking to natural sensations of hunger and satiety becomes transformative in developing a healthy relationship with food. Fasting also cultivates discipline, willpower, and presence, qualities that Buddhist practice is designed to develop. When you are hungry and you wait, you are practicing the ability to sit with discomfort without immediately acting on it. It is a great training for meditation and for life. You are developing the ability to observe sensations and urges without being controlled by them. This skill generalizes to every area of life. On a spiritual level, fasting produces lightness and openness that facilitate meditation, prayer, and contemplation. When your body is not busy digesting food, it is much easier for energy to rise to the higher centers. Most of the spiritual traditions of the world have used fasting as a way of deepening spiritual awareness and connecting with spirit. Buddhist monks fast, not because they want to punish themselves, but as a way of creating optimum conditions for awakening. The practical recommendation is to start gently and build gradually. Start with a 12-hour overnight fast. For example, finish dinner by 7 p.m. and do not eat until 7 a.m. This alone will create significant benefits if you are currently snacking late into the evening. Once this feels comfortable, extend to 14 or 16 hours. You might skip breakfast and eat your first meal at midday. Experiment with what schedule works for your body and lifestyle. Consider 1 day per week where you eat only 1 or 2 meals, creating a longer fasting period, or try a full 24-hour fast once a month, drinking only water and herbal tea. Pay attention to how you feel during and after fasting. Most people are surprised to find that they feel more energetic, clearer, and better, not worse, when they're not constantly eating. Remember that fasting works most effectively within the framework of the other principles: eating the 7 healing foods when you do eat, practicing mindful and grateful eating, choosing clean foods, and supporting gut health. Fasting is not about deprivation. It is about giving your body the space and time it needs to heal itself, which is what it is brilliantly designed to do when given the opportunity. As we approach the close of our tour through these dietary principles, remember that perfection or rigid adherence to rules is not the objective. Rather, understand the wisdom behind these practices and gradually incorporate them into your life in a manner that supports your unique body circumstances and goals. Every small step towards cleaner food, more mindful eating, and appropriate fasting is a step toward awakening your inner doctor and creating the vibrant health that is your birthright. If this video has opened your eyes to the healing power within you and ancient wisdom that can change your health, please take a minute to show your support. Click the like button. It helps us reach more people who need this life changing. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Wisdom Diaries and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our videos on ancient wisdom for modern living. Till next time, stay healthy, stay mindful, and keep growing with Wisdom Diaries.